The worst songs of 2025. 2025 is one of the most unique years we have gotten when it came to new releases. With lots of variety in the type of stuff that was coming out and its creative processes, it's no wonder why 2025 has a lot of good releases under its belt. It also managed to pump out quite a lot of bad material as well. So without any further ado, here's the worst this year has on offer. For those who don't already know, King Combs' father, Sean Combs, otherwise known as Diddy, was previously arrested on multiple different charges including domestic assault and sexual assault charges in June of 2024. In October of 2025, his sentence has been dropped to 4 years and 2 months, meaning he is likely to be a free man in 2030. As King Combs assembles the Inter Milan Ultras, a vocal group that was present during the recordings of Vultures 1 and 2, he calls for his father being freed, saying that he will not rest until he is released. But if that's the case, you're gonna be awake for a long time. It is theoretically impossible to not sleep for 4 to 5 years since the body depends on sleep as a reset factor, meaning you most likely die of sleep deprivation. Wanting Diddy freed is also a horrible thing to wish for considering everything he did and what him being released really means. Serving as Rihanna's first single since Lift Me Up in 2022 for the Black Panther Wakanda Forever soundtrack and it being 10 years since her last major album release being 2016's Anti, everyone right around now was anticipating new music from her. But it seems like in the moment that she dropped it, she disappointed everyone who was looking forward to hearing it. First off, the song sounds majorly unfinished given the minute-long open production sections with a repeated verse that doesn't get added to. And second off, her vocals sound majorly processed. It's kinda hard to tell that it actually is Rihanna considering all the layering put on top of her voice. But with the release of this song, she officially dropped her second lowest rated single on Album of the Year, only behind the Birthday Cake remix, which is a musical atrocity I'll save for another time.
I know a nigga named Antonio Brown that raped a bitch 3 times. Raped a bitch 3 times, he took.
After blowing up in 2024 off the controversial single that was Crying in the Kitchen, Dave Bluntz would continue to use his controversy throughout the rest of his career to platform himself. And Sex Crimes is no different. This accusatory song directly calls Antonio Brown, the former quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, a rapist for his lawsuit he was a part of in 2021. He also accuses another underground rapper, named Khan, of being homophobic. And all of this seems like he wants to shed light on the horrible actions of others without acknowledging his wrongdoing. This may also be a form of victim blaming he's using to make himself seem like the better person.
I hate Mexicans forever.
While mostly satirical, Darky's USD is a direct call out of the American government, with him using his platform to call them corrupt and also state that they use gun funding to fuel more public shootings. On Racist Piece of Shit Anthem, Darky directly calls out Trump supporters and how overly racist they are to Mexicans. And even though what he's saying about them are true, these are still horrible things to say about an ethnic race or group. This paints Darky in a much worse light, given that he kick-started his career with a racist caricature of Mickey Mouse. Now people will think he actually is a racist, which I would not be surprised in the slightest if he turned out being one.
And I'm so tired of the hatred and the narratives. The patriots ain't dangerous, woke people are the terrorists.
On September 10th, one of the most tragic events would take place in American history. Charlie Kirk, the spokesperson for the University of Utah and a right-wing commentator, was assassinated while answering a question about the violence in the United States. And a day after the incident occurred, Tom MacDonald immediately dropped a response song meant to capitalize off this misfortune. The problem here is that even though his intentions are sincere, he's shifting blame for his death, praising him as a hero despite his many controversial takes on abortion and civil rights and, probably the worst of all, self-inserting himself into it all, saying that it could happen to anyone, making it so that it feels like this song was only really about himself. It seems like he doesn't really care about his death at all and just wanted his profit.
We are Charlie Kirk, we carry.
Adding on to the shitty songs made after Charlie Kirk's death, we also have this AI Christian worship song of him where they say that they will carry on the fallen legacy he had as a follower of Jesus. And worshipping Kirk like this is wrong because controversial figures like these are the last people we would think of as godlike. And this song also turned into a shitpost song accompanied by many Kirk face swap memes. But what I think is worse than that is the singing on this, because it sounds like the person singing this is really straining a shit. Please find better singers to make songs like these. Or, even better, don't make a song on it at all.
All it takes is one shot to get me feeling myself and have the devil knocking at my door.
As of recently, Dax has become the face of coworker music, or, as many people call it nowadays, burger music. The reason it's named burger music being that you might hear it at a Burger King. And there is no soul to it whatsoever. Just fake stories Dax made up of him being an alcoholic and drinking to cope with his demons. And he's trying to make this inauthentic, relatable music so that he can invoke a reaction out of people. But having not gone through any of that himself, it seems like he's trying too hard to relate without him having anything about him that is considered relatable. It's just boring music at this point, and considering that it's all attention bait, that just makes it resonate less with someone like me.
I'll take your side whether you're wrong or right.
While we're on the topic of coworker music, next we have DJ Khaled's Brother. This basic sounding acoustic trap song is about staying close to someone and always sticking by their side, showing loyalty in similar ways that a lion may show, hence the cover. Nothing about this song is inherently interesting. Post Malone's vocals are pretty bland, and so are Youngboy's verses. Seeing how uninteresting this song is, I consider this the most background music sounding song of the year.
Shake that ass, mommy. Skip your class, mommy. Come and fuck me, mommy. Come and fuck.
Young Thug made a lot of questionable choices during his post-prison run, one of the most of them being a collab with Sexy Red. This overly vulgar song about receiving affection from your other can make just about anyone uncomfortable, considering how in detail he gets about doing it with her, even going as far as to share his affection for nicely painted toes. Didn't expect Thug to have a foot fetish, but okay. He also has some of the most basic lyricism on this song, a prime example being, "Tic-tac-toe, I just took your hoe." Sexy doesn't really help either, as she just makes the song worse. Overall, this is the worst song he has ever released from his most reputation-shattering album to date.
I like pretty girls. Girls. I love.
As his downfall would follow him after his Oscars incident in 2022, his reputation would plummet alongside it, giving us the most depressing downwards trajectory we have ever seen from a celebrity. Along with the release of his worst album in his entire discography with Based on a True Story and the heavily clowned on Lunch Break freestyle, Will would go on to have a midlife crisis with the song Pretty Girls, showing us that he is perhaps too old for the shenanigans he's involving himself in. Along with the fragile collapse of his own ego, this club-sounding song just shows that Will doesn't really have much left in him and is merely holding on by a thread. And maybe by next year, it'll all finally be over.
I guess I'm the problem. And your miss never do no wrong.
Gee, you really think? Along with all of the controversy Morgan has been involved in all these years, mostly being the incident where he called his neighbor the hard R and him throwing a chair at Eric Church's bar, he really is the problem. For as controversial of a country artist as he is, he never seems to catch flack for any of his wrongdoings. Rather, his popularity often distracts others from that fact, which is a bad thing because he needs to be taken into accountability.
A pussy wet just like Oasis. He ride a dick, she in a spaceship. I blow it back, I told her to take.
On this song, Plaque Max goes for a different sound than he usually does and resorts to a tropical-sounding Afro beat. Unfortunately, his lack of charisma doesn't sell it at all. And not only are the lyrics just basic sex and attractive women cliches we hear in many other songs, his Portuguese is also pretty bad. Given for someone who has never used Portuguese in one of their songs before, I think you need to go back and take a Duolingo course to get a better understanding for it.
I got too many women, too many women.
Meanwhile, DDG gets into his Drake bag in the worst way possible and makes a slow and monotonous song about how he has lots of different women, complete with awful autotune that would make T-Pain laugh if he ever heard it. This song is just a chore to get through, and the other lyrics are just typical bad bitch and I'm gonna catch a vibe type lyrics. But despite the 2.5 minutes feeling like it's nearly 5 minutes, that somehow isn't the worst song of the year. But before we go into that, we are now gonna enter a speed round.
I'm
I'm gonna get you. Stop running from this dick boo. Fucking on a shih tzu. Bitch, you gon' hit who? Bitch.
This might be the worst first day out song I've ever heard. Whoever freed him clearly made a mistake.
Shoot in the head and create disorder. High for occupants on the border. We ain't got face on the lick shit. Anonymous. I ain't for the.
Out of any rapper I've ever heard, Laser Dim 700 has the worst beat selection of all time. Who told you this was a good beat to rap over?
Story of my life, I know that I ain't fucking long got cooked in my Maggie look.
What's worse than anything Young Thug dropped this year? Someone copying Young Thug this year. Seriously though, find your own lane to strive in. We're way past making music now cause we're just full out making the musical equivalent of an ADHD attack. Any enjoyment I could have gotten was shot dead by how much is going on in this song.
Hit the plane, now I'm back in LA. 1 BP, 4 chopsticks.
It's a very basic sounding trap song with a raspy ass vocal delivery. Soulja Boy is in desperate need of some water. Lil Pump in the Big 25 is funnier than any joke Amy Schumer has ever told. But the fact that he went from bad-sounding trap music to bad-sounding reggaeton music really needs to be studied. Farina also has one of the most annoying voices I've ever heard from a female Latin artist.
I'm in your city. What you doing? I know you be busy. If you're not, then come get in with me.
It's your average song about having sex with women. Them sampling The Percolator was one of the greatest mistakes they made. This song's about showing affection to your significant other. And for a song named Good Night, it sure is putting me to sleep.
They saying I'm acting like Hitler, but how am I acting like Hitler when I'm a bucket nigger?
You're probably wondering why I have this picked over the song where he admits that he did inappropriate things with his cousin on Cousins, or the song That's a Nazi Salute anthem named HH. But truly, the song where he gives in to his anti-Semitism and controversial political views is worse than both of these. It gives light into the worst side of Kanye that we've truly never seen before. And for it standing for all of the bad this year had to offer music-wise, it is the worst song of 2025. And with that being said, thanks for watching this video. Let me know what you thought were the worst songs of the year, and I'll see you next time.